living in the end of your wish already fulfilled. Today on Awakening with Amy. Hi, welcome. So happy that you're here. I'm Amy Valentine, certified life coach, hoping to awaken within you a mindset that you can be, do, and have whatever your heart desires. So today I want to talk more about the teacher, Neville Goddard, and some of his kind of techniques on how to manifest, and create more of what you truly desire. So Neville Goddard talks a lot about the wish fulfilled, living from the end of your wish fulfilled. And why is this such a powerful teaching? Well, because we're either living with an attitude, a mindset that we can be, do, and have anything, or we're living from the mindset that we can't be, do, and have anything. And depending on what subject we're applying that to, we're either going to be on the positive end of, having it, or living on the negative end, so to speak, of just, it's a pipe dream, right? So, this concept of living from the end of wish fulfilled, it sounds kind of out there, but when you break it down a little bit, it's not. And here's why. Think about when you're a little kid, it's your birthday, the adults tell you, blow out the candles, make a wish, but don't tell anybody what you wished for because then it won't come true. And although metaphors aren't always perfect, this is what I take when I apply Neville's teaching of wish fulfilled and living from the end to the birthday example. When you make a wish, when you're a little kid, you're not putting obstacles in your own way. Meaning you're not trying to figure out how you're going to get it, or you're not trying to make it happen. You're just making your wish and blowing out the candles. And as long as you don't tell anybody what your wish is, you know it's going to come. It's a childlike sensibility. It's a childlike wonder about life, right? Not getting bogged down by the details and the how and the when and if or should I, could I. No, kids don't think that way, right? Not until later, until it gets knocked out of them, right? So we don't tell anybody our wish because if we already know it's on the way, we don't have to prove anything. We don't have to explain it. We don't have to rationalize or justify it. We don't have to look for signs. And that's what Neville's really, the essence of the teaching of living from the end of wish fulfilled means. He's talking about when we're always living from the end of something, either fulfillment or non-fulfillment. Satisfaction or not being satisfied. It's about going within and really tapping into the why. Why am I doing what I'm doing? Why am I saying or thinking what I'm thinking? What's behind it? What's sponsoring my thought or my actions? Is it love or is it fear? Just like A Course in Miracles says, there's only two emotions, love or fear. So how do we live in the end of wish fulfilled? Well, it's an attitude. And Neville says, there's a lot of things he says about this, but one thing he says is to cultivate that inner, awaken the psychological state within you of fulfillment. And what is that? It's the feeling of joy. It's a soft excitement. It's knowing. It's an inner conviction that whatever desire comes to me, I can have it. So he says the key is to feeling fulfillment is cultivating and awakening that inner feeling of joy. And that's the secret. And the thing is to understand, how do you know if you're living in the end or from the end of wish fulfilled? Well, how do you feel about whatever you're trying to manifest, right? If you feel like I need to see signs, you're not fulfilled. What would you feel if you already were in possession of it? And he talks about the law of reversibility and how if A causes B, then B also must cause A. Meaning, if a physical, material object or circumstance can create a fulfillment within me, then if I create a psychological state of feeling fulfilled before I get the physical manifestation, by universal law of reversibility, if I sustain that feeling of fulfillment, then the outer must show that to me. It's all about belief. Neville says, you have everything. You already are that which you want to be. It's your refusal to believe it that keeps it from you. So what are we talking about here? We're talking about cultivating the belief. It's an art, right? Of allowing yourself to believe in every dream you have, regardless of your circumstances right now. It's an inner conviction of believing and having faith in yourself. And how to cultivate that is by trusting your guidance, trusting your intuition, and having no ulterior motive. Let me give you an example. So the other day, I was reading Neville and I was writing notes like I often do. And for whatever reason, I wrote down this Bible verse that was in one of Neville's books, and it was from Luke 12:32. And this is what the Bible verse said that I wrote down. Fear not, little flock, for it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. Again, that was Luke 12:32. It is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. Well, what's the kingdom? The kingdom is your wish fulfilled. So when you're following your pleasure, you're following your Father, God, source energy, infinite intelligence, your higher self, whatever you want to call it. When you're following your pleasure, you're following your higher will, and it will lead you on the path. Neville talks about the bridge of incidents, that, you don't see the circumstances and events to your desire before. Signs follow, they never precede. So here's an example. That day I wrote down that Luke 12:32, it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. I had an urge to go to the farm where I live locally to buy this sausage they make there. It's a chicken sausage anyway. So I get in the car with my little dog. I go over there. They're out of it. They don't have it. I'm like, oh, darn. Whatever. So I pick up a couple other things. And as I'm walking up to the register to pay, I see this guy standing there and he's ordering his turkey. And he kind of looked familiar, but, I didn't say anything because I wasn't sure. So then the woman asked for his name to put the turkey on hold. And I'm like, oh my God, I realized after I hear his name, I went to high school with him. Now, we weren't really friends, but we had mutual friends in common. So he goes, I go, whatever. I get in my car and I realize, well, he's the only other car in the parking lot. So I sat there for a second, like 30 seconds, and I'm like, I'm just going to say hi to him if he comes out in the next 30 seconds before I pull away. And sure enough, he did. And I was like, hey, and I won't tell you his name. I'll keep his information private. Anyway, we get talking. Now, I haven't seen him since high school, and I'm not going to tell you how long ago that was, but anyway, like I said, he's like, oh, I always see you on Facebook with your friends, blah, blah, blah. And I said, well, how are you? Did you and your wife have kids? And he said, oh, yeah. And he starts talking about his kids. And he says, oh, my son, his name is Luke. Now, look, I know that doesn't sound profound, but let me tell you, for me, it was. And this is why. It wasn't the desire to go to the farm for the chicken sausage that was my real desire. Underneath that, when I sort of look back at the day, I was like, oh my gosh, I needed that to happen, that synchronicity. My higher self guided me to the farm. And if I would have gone to the farm 2 minutes earlier or 2 minutes later, we never would have ran into each other. And the significance is that when we follow our fun, we follow our enjoyment with no ulterior motive. I mean, for God's sake, I thought I was going there to make, get the sausage to make dinner. No, my higher self already knew I wanted that synchronicity to build my faith and my trust, that I'm not alone, that I always have help. And when we live from the end, like Neville guides us and teaches us, live from the end of your wish fulfilled, and then the outer world will reflect it. Trust that. Don't try to look for signs. They follow. They never proceed, because it is your Father, the universe, your higher self, good pleasure to guide you to everything you desire. Believe that. Trust that. Cultivate that. Allow that into your mind. If you got any value out of the video today, please like and share it with friends and family. Subscribe to the channel. I'd love to have you. Thank you.